Hello everyone and welcome to Werven's World and welcome to my preview of Endless Space 2, the Volters expansion. The Volters expansion is the first paid expansion for Endless Space 2 and it not only contains a new race, which is here these Volters, it also contains some additional mechanics. So let's dig into what this expansion has to offer and then you can see whether you think it's worth it or not. So let's have a look at the Steam page on what this expansion has to offer. In the content summary it says that we get Volters Major Civilization, the Sisters of Mercy Minor Faction, then we get Volters Heroes, Volters Special Node, Volters Main Quest, so that all has to do with the Volters. Then we also have Pirate Diplomacy, Opbot, which is a new hero which kind of belongs to the Volters. We got exotic ship modules, we got additional deeds, as well as 4 exploration quests. So let's dig a little bit deeper into what all these things mean. So the first thing in the list is the Volters Major Civilization. So we have a new race to play, the Volters, and if you've played Endless Legend, then you probably know the Volters. They were actually the first race that I ever played in Endless Legend, which made me fall in love with the game, because it was quite special to have a 4X game that actually had a very interesting story and a lot of atmosphere. So I kind of have a weak spot for the Volters, just because they are the ones that introduced me to Endless Legend. So we get to play those. I will not go into detail on everything they can do because I'll make a second video. Like always, I'll make this video with an introduction to the Volters, which goes over all their stuff, all their research, ships and so on. So no need to repeat myself, so I will not go into detail here. The second thing we get is the Sisters of Mercy Minor Faction. Those are also already in Endless Legend and now we get to play with them in Endless Space 2. Then we have Volter Heroes, of course, because of course we have a race, they need their own heroes. We've got a Volter Special Node, which is a kind of an interesting thing, because normally any race that we have kind of already starts on a planet, although of course with Vodiani that's a little bit debatable. But with the Volters we start on a node that doesn't really do anything for us at all. The only thing that it does give us is gold or dust if it's in a sphere of influence of any system we control. But we don't control any systems at the beginning of the game yet, which makes their start a little bit different from other races. Then we have of course the Volters Main Quest, which, well, just as with all the other races, we have our own story to tell. But then we get to a really new mechanic of the game, which is Pirate Diplomacy. So let's look a little bit more into detail on how that works. The pirates are an interesting addition to the game because previously you had neutral races that would basically always spawn pirate ships and they were kind of a nuisance and they were a little bit annoying, so now this has been replaced with a different pirate mechanic. Basically there are some nodes that harbor pirates, as you can see here and I think there's one here as well. And these pirates, they are building ships and they can attack us or anyone else in the galaxy. So if we click on them,
it's okay. Everybody finds me irresistible.
Then we get introduced to this pirate guy here. And there's a couple of things on this screen here. First of all, we can see that in 3 turns the pirates will make a fleet, and if you click here on this plus it will expand. And the fleet will consist of 3 prowlers with 5 movement speed. It only has 3 command points. This is the health, attack and defense. And that's what they will spawn. And then they're gonna roam around and be annoying. So you can actually buy a pirate mark. And a pirate mark means that we can put a contract on another empire system. So basically if we do that, it costs us 550 gold. Then you can see here mark pirate target. So let's see here, for example, it's Virgo, it's a Horatio system. What we can do is we can click on this one and then here. And then normally we should be able to click this, but they have a non-aggression standing with the Pirate League, so we can't actually do that. But what about Micra here, which is part of the currently an unknown empire, I don't know them yet. So then I click on this and now it's a pirate mark. So basically now the pirates will be attacking Micra, and depending on their standing with the pirates, they might attack from very far away or only from close by. Because as you can see here, my standing currently is disastrous, and it says that that means that the pirate fleets will respond to the call from further away, because they really don't like me, they are more likely to respond to these marks. Now, What else can we do? We can actually support them. So as you can see here, at the moment, this is the health and strength and stuff of the next pirate fleet, which will arrive in 3 turns. If we support them, we will increase this. Furthermore, we are now increasing our standing as well. So now it's only poor. They don't like me, but they will still bother us if a mark is placed on us. And now here this one has been activated, so they get +1 movement speed, they get extra health, defense bonuses, damage and so on, but we can support them even more. And now they get even stronger, and then we can support them even more. There we go. And now they basically have a much stronger fleet that will be bothering other people, and it will come in 3 turns. Now you can also see I'm cordial. You are at peace with the pirates, their fleets won't attack you and other empires cannot place a pirate mark on you. This is what happened to the Horatio. I couldn't place a pirate mark on them because they were friendly with the Horatio. Now as you can see, I became friendly with them through support using money, and that also means now I'm at peace with them, so kind of I have a non-aggression pact. Normally you can also get a non-aggression pact by spending influence. So if I cancel this now, you can see that suddenly I have poor standing, and then I can make a non-aggression pact using influence instead of supporting them all the time. So then basically I would be at peace for them, even though it would be forced, so it's only 10 turns, but then their fleets don't get stronger. Now there's another thing you could do is covert sabotage, which anonymously sabotages the pirate supply so their next fleet is weaker. So basically it will only reduce their power,
What the hell was that?
as you can see here, but it doesn't affect my standing on them because it's sabotage. They don't know that I'm doing it. So that's basically pirates. It's not a very big mechanic, but they are kind of fun to play around with. And if you really hate them, what you can do is you can just bring ships there and siege their homeworlds, so you have a lot of ground battles in order to destroy these pirates. So the nice thing for the Volters, I have to go a little bit into the mechanics of them now, is that Volters can build portals in their system. As you can see, then you get this icon here. This system contains a portal. Your fleet can teleport from here to another owned or allied system containing a portal. Now, as you can see, this pirate system now, they're all friendly with me. And when they are friendly, then, or when they're kind of my allies, then they also get portals, and with portals I can basically straight up teleport a fleet that way. So if I click on this fleet here and then click on the pirates, then I just immediately teleport there without having to go the long way around. So being friendly with pirates actually gives you quite a nice option to suddenly just jump somewhere without having a system there. So that's quite nice. Then there is Oppot DV8. So if you've played Endless Legend, you might remember him if you've played the Volters, but he's now also a hero in Endless Space 2. I've actually now unlocked him in this game, so you have to get him through a story quest, but it's a branching story, so you might also not get him. But I've got him here, and he's actually really quite good. So the reason why he's good, well, I mean, he just has the normal skills and he also has the counselor skills, but then he has this primitive minor civilization skills, and those are really quite nice. So here we can see plus 0.5 damage per current command point on fleet. That can be quite strong at some point, like at the beginning is it not so much, but once you have a lot of command points, then you can do actually quite some more damage. If he's assigned to a system, however, he gives extra food per Volters on the planet, and then plus 2 food per population on planet. So food is a bit of a problem for Volters because they have this thing called Black Thumb, I think it's called. Black Thumb 2, which gives them minus 15% food on systems. So Oppot is actually quite nice to have for them because he's just much better at making food. Now, here we have even more food, the ascetic sustenance, plus 20 food on system, plus 2 food per hero level on system, also quite nice. Then we've got this one here, Mechanical Genius, plus 30 production on system, quite nice. Not amazing, but actually just quite good. Then we've got Blood and Land, plus 40 defensive capacity on system, so if you're being sieged, then this is really quite nice to have. But then we've got Authoritarian Leadership, plus 25% manpower or stocks on ships, and extra siege damage, so you can really do some great sieging there. But then this one here is really quite nice. You get plus 1 production per population on planets if he's a political leader. And when he's on a system, if he's assigned, he gets plus 6 production per person on a planet. This adds up really, really fast. I mean, what is a standard let's just take kind of a standard system like here, Zane's. It only has 3 planets. But even there we already have 18, so that would be then 6 times 18 production extra on this system. So Oddbot is really quite fun to have. Then there are the exotic modules. Now there's a little bit of a problem, as in the exotic modules are not named as such, so it's kind of hard to figure out which ones they are, but I definitely identified a couple and I think I got them all, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's first look at the EMP weapons. Here in Tensor Algorithms and Advanced Game Theory we've got the Turret Interference Missile, and as you can see in the special it has the EMP target, which is the weapon, so it targets the weapons of its target ship. The EMP duration is 10 seconds, so it actually shuts down the weapons for 10 seconds, and it can fire again after 9 seconds. Now, as you can see here, it says EMP weapons disable the targeted subsystem for a limited time if the hit is successful. Now, so this one targets the weapons, but then we also have the shield interference beam, which shuts down the shield of the enemy. So that's also quite nice. If they use a lot of shields against you, you can actually shut them down with this, and for the rest, well, have your lasers do a lot of damage. Now you can defend against these with another new module, which is over here, the distributed fusion. EMP shield deactivation duration minus 10%, and this one here, EMP weapon deactivation duration minus 10%. So this one defends against those EMP weapons. Then we've got a very, very big weapon here, the blast effect battery. It increases your chance to be targeted, so basically they will fire at your ship because you have such a humongous weapon on it. It can only fire once every phase, so you can basically only get 3 shots at best. So if you have a long, medium and short range phase, then it ignores shields and hull plating, and it has an area of effect. So if you hit one ship, then the ships around it will also get damaged by this. So it's a very, very big gun. Then we've got a new mechanic here, also the boarding pods. And boarding pods are basically missiles. As you might know, missiles have a certain amount of health and they can be intercepted with kinetic weapons because they nowadays have flak, and that can intercept missiles. So boarding pods are basically the same as that, except instead of filling the missiles with explosives, we fill them with people, and then when we shoot them at ships, they will hopefully take over that ship. So basically they will attach to that ship and they will do manpower damage, and once this manpower is at 0, you actually take over the ship. So not only do you reduce the power of your enemies, you actually increase your own power because you take over ships. Be a little bit careful with this though, because if you focus on this, you'll be taking over so many ships, and then you will be paying a lot of upkeep for those ships. So take care that you don't lose too much money on it, and you can always sell them, of course. Once you take over a fleet, then just sell them for a lot of money, and well, that's another advantage to them. But of course the disadvantage of them is that they can just be intercepted with this flak, and then you don't do anything because your missiles got destroyed. So they cancel each other out. Now, how does that look? I actually have a battle here in Trove coming up, and I kind of focused on these boarding pods. The only problem is that my target here, they don't actually have any manpower, but we can still see the effect of what these boarding pods do. So let us start the battle. Let's click on advance and put everything here in the same line. There we go. And we can watch this battle. Alright, let's put it on free camera as well as scan. So you can see here this white bar is your manpower of the ships. So soon enough we should be firing pods at the enemy. And once they arrive, we will immediately take it over. Here it goes, some pods. Oh, there. So once they arrive there, this will turn white, and it's immediately ours. Now let's switch here. They have actually a fair amount of kinetic weapons, so they're actually shooting down many of these pods. So here's some pods coming. 1 dead, 2 dead, 3 dead. So nothing happened actually, the pods didn't arrive. Now I'm also sending my bombers here. So now the flak cannons have to shoot at both my pods as well as at the bombers, and then they will get overwhelmed. So now they're shooting at these bombers, which gives these pods free reign, and now I took over this gouge here. Now the bombers are attacking and taking over this one here, and now the bombers will kill this one. I've already watched this battle once, so... Decisive victory, and many more pods coming. My entire fleet consists of those pods, so... And now as you can see here, this blue symbol means that I took them over, and this gouge here is the one that I destroyed with the bombers. So now when we look here, we can see that we have two fleets, the one that I attacked with, but also the one I took over. Now I can choose to keep this one, but what I think I prefer to do is just to sell them here. Sell the selected ships for 605 dust, which is actually a fair amount of money. So these boarding pods give definitely an interesting twist to the game because, well, they're very powerful, but they can just be intercepted by having a lot of flak guns. So you can definitely counter such a strategy. Then the expansion contains new deeds. So deeds are these things that you can achieve when you have upgraded your research, and only one empire can do it. So for example, a new one here is if you break 4 planets, if you destroy 4 planets, you actually unlock extreme boarding pods, which is a very good upgraded version of the normal boarding pods, and even better than the second, the champions pods as well. There's also a deed here that used to give, I think, like 1,000 influence or something like that, but now it unlocks Glialak Administr 7B2. So if you actually buy out 3 systems by spending influence, you unlock this cool jellyfish-like hero thing here. So there's actually a new hero and you can unlock it by these deeds. So the expansion kind of overhauled this research tree quite a bit. There's new modules, there's new deeds, and overall I think it became a bit more interesting, especially with the new modules, which is not just having a bit more damage or having a little bit more health. It actually has some additional effects like that EMP stuff and well, the boarding pods, as well as that area of effect damage. So I think the research tree definitely became much more interesting. That's about it for this expansion. So it contains a new race and everything that entails. So we have the Volters, and that includes some new heroes, new questline, new ships, and so on. Then we have the pirates that you can actually do diplomacy with. Then we have the exotic modules, as well as the new deeds, and as well as some extra exploration quests. So overall there's quite a bit of extra content here. It's not as extensive as the Endless Legend expansions, I must say, though. Like in the Endless Legend we had this entire, for example, seafaring, and then there was an entire expansion with this winter and the altar that you could use in winter to change a lot of things, or you had these guardians. I had the feeling that those expansions had changed the game more significantly than that this expansion does, but still I do really enjoy it. But of course I also really enjoy the Volters, so personally I think it's worth buying, but I cannot make that decision for you because I have to disclose, of course, I got this key for free from the developers in order to preview it. So I don't know, I haven't spent money on it, so for me it's very hard to say whether it's worth it, because for me of course it's worth it, I got it for free. So make up your own mind. I just really, well, I enjoy Endless Space 2, and I definitely think it's worth supporting this model, especially because they gave out a lot of expansion content for free already before this paid one. But yeah, in any case, again, make up your own mind about it. So I hope you found this preview useful, and see you next time.